Alright, let's look at the homework 7.3, problem number 8. Alright, so first we're going to complete the square to simplify the expression inside the square root. Alright, so we have 13 plus 12x minus x squared. Alright, and first I'm going to leave 13 by itself. And I'm going to put the negative sign and factor out the negative sign from x squared, right here. Then if you factor out the negative sign from 12x, you got the negative 12x, right? Then the number we need to complete the square would be, so we need the half of 12 squared, so it's going to be 6 squared, so we need the 36. Then I'm going to subtract 36, right? Then we're going to get, right? So I'm going to keep these three guys together, right? Keep these three guys together. So I'm going to distribute the negative sign to negative 36. So it's going to be positive 36. Added to 13 would be 49. So we get 49, which is 7 squared, minus, right, x squared minus 12x plus 36 is x minus 6 quantity squared, right? So we can rewrite this guy as integral square root of, right, 7 squared minus quantity x minus 6 squared dx. Right, now we can use a substitution. So we're gonna let x minus 6 be a7, so 7 sine of theta, right? We can take the derivative, so we have a dx over d theta, and derivative of negative 6 is 0, so it goes away. And derivative of 7 sine of x is 7 cosine of theta. Alright, then we can just simply multiply by 3d theta to find dx, which is 7 cosine of theta d theta. Alright, so let's do a substitution here. So we're going to get integral, right, square root, right, you have a 7 squared minus, right now it's going to be 7 squared, so 7 squared sine squared of theta, and a dx is 7 cosine of theta d theta. Alright, then we can simplify this guy right here. Alright, 7 square, then square root, so 7 is pulled out. Right, 1 minus sine square is cosine squared. With the square root, you just get the cosine of theta. Alright, so what you get is, right, 7 times 7, so 7 squared. I just pull that out. And you will have cosine times cosine, cosine squared of theta d theta. Right? Then we can use the trig identity. Cosine of square is, right, 1/2 1 plus cosine of 2 theta with respect to theta. So we're going to get the 7 squared over 2. Right, then antiderivative of 1 with respect to theta is theta. And antiderivative of cosine is going to be sine of 2 theta over 2. Then we're going to have plus some constant c. Alright, then since sine of 2 theta using a trig identity is 2 sine of theta cosine of theta. So we can cancel 2 on top and 2 on the bottom. So we're gonna get, right? So we're gonna get 49 over 2 theta plus sine of theta cosine of theta plus some constant c. Right? Now we just have to rewrite the theta, sine of theta, cosine of theta in terms of x. Right? So let's do that. From the substitution here, right, I'm going to divide through by 7. So we get sine of theta is simply x minus 6 over 7. Right? So we already know sine, and the theta is just going to be, we can take the arc sine of both sides. So you have a theta is equal to arc sine of x minus 6 over 7. Right? Then cosine, we can use the triangle. So draw a general right triangle like that, and put theta here. Right? So we have sine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So we can take adjacent to be x minus 6, or actually, not adjacent, sorry, I messed that up. Right? Sine is actually opposite over hypotenuse. Right? Opposite. So we can take the opposite to be x minus 6, hypotenuse to be 7. Right? Then adjacent, you can just use the Pythagorean theorem. So 7 squared minus x minus 6 squared, which is actually the original integrand, 13 plus 12x minus x squared. Right? So from here, cosine, we can find the cosine of theta is going to be, right, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So adjacent is square root of 13 plus 12x minus x squared over hypotenuse is 7. Right? Now we know everything. So we have 49 over 2. Right? Theta is arc sine. Right? Theta is going to be arc sine of x minus 6 over 7, right, plus sine of theta is x minus 6 over 7 times cosine of theta is square root of 13 plus 12x minus x squared over 7, right, plus some constant c. Right? So we can kind of distribute this 49 over 2 to first term and the second term. We have 49 over 2 arc sine of x minus 6 over 7. Right? And 49 and 7 times 7 cancel out. So you're going to have plus 1/2 x minus 6 times square root of 13 plus 12x minus x squared plus some constant c. Right? So this is the antiderivative that we're looking for. Right? So let's type this guy in. Right, so we got 49 over 2, right, then arc sine So, oops, arc sine of x minus 6 over, oops, I have to do x minus 6, maybe I should highlight the whole thing, over, let's see, here, I'm going to do x minus 6 over 7, right? Oh, I'm going to just checking. Alright, then we have plus, alright, 1/2 and x minus 6 times square root of 13 plus 12x minus x squared, right? Plus some constant c, right? Let's check the answer. Submit for testing. Alright, it came back and looks like we got this one correctly. Alright, that's it. I hope that this was clear.